Welcome to the virtual town hall for May 2021, held by the members of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm Dylan Blaylock with Clackamas County's Public and Government Affairs Department, and I'll be coordinating the public comments for today's meeting. Starting last year with the onset of the pandemic, the Board of County Commissioners held several digital events in order to hear directly from the public on issues of great importance. Tonight, from the Board of County Commissioners, we have the full board, Chair Tootie Smith and Commissioners Sonia Fisher, Paul Savas, Martha Schrader, and Mark Scholl. My thanks to all of you for being here. And tonight we are going to be talking about internet access. First, Chair Smith will provide some opening remarks. With that, Chair Smith.
Well, thanks, Dylan, and thanks for being our tech guy on this. Thank you for all joining us today. On behalf of the rest of the Board of County Commissioners, I welcome you to the May edition of our virtual town hall series. These town hall series are just one way that we commissioners can connect and stay directly connected with our residents and stakeholders. Last year, we had nearly 20 digital events, and we will hold at least one every month during this year, 2021. Also note that Thursday business meetings are open to the public, both in person and in Zoom. Tonight's topic, however, is internet access and connectivity in Clackamas County. This issue is important to commissioners. For years, Clackamas County has operated under a results-based plan called Performance Clackamas. The plan has 5 strategic priorities under which the county operates. One priority is to build a strong infrastructure. And one goal under that priority is this: by the year 2026, 100% of county residents and businesses, where served, have access to safe and affordable infrastructure, multimodal transportation, including roads, sewer, and tonight's topic, broadband services. So the issue we're discussing tonight is very critical to the board. This is what we'd like to hear about. What are the ongoing challenges residents face with internet access? That is our question for you. We'd like to hear about the challenges in all areas, but particularly from our rural areas. And that's where I come from. Hopefully my internet signal will stay where it is, and I won't be fading in and out. And so I understand for those of you who are at home trying to Zoom for your business, or you're teaching your kids at home, how the connectivity is really important. What have been the ramifications of a lack of reliable connectivity? And lastly, I'll note this. We hope to respond to your comments, but mostly we're here just to listen. And we're going to try to get back to you, staff. We have a lot of people on. We're just going to try to post these comments somehow and answer your questions. Is that right, Dylan?
Yes, you're free to answer questions, and we also have some other staff on as well, which I can introduce in a second.
Thank you, Dylan. I'm going to pass it back to you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Chair Smith. So also joining us tonight, as alluded to, currently off screen, but they will be brought in as needed, are Dave DeVore and Duke Dexter from the county's Technology Services Department. Now, the county's Technology Services Department manages the Clackamas Broadband Exchange, and let me go ahead and share my screen for a brief moment. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that. CBX, also known as the Clackamas Broadband Exchange, is a broadband infrastructure network that serves both areas of our community that are rural and urban. You can find out more about CBX at www.clackamas.us/CBX. We will also go ahead and put the address in the chat box. Our thanks to Dave and Duke for being available. The other thing that I wanted to draw people's attention to, some recent news just in the last couple of days. This is from the Oregonian a couple days ago about a new federal benefit for certain eligible households to help cover the cost of internet service. Per the article, we will also share this in the chat. The Emergency Broadband Benefit Program will start May 12th, and on that date, eligible households will be able to enroll in the program to receive a monthly discount off of the cost of broadband service from an approved provider. And again, we will share this in the chat. thought that was germane to the conversation today.
Well, you know, Dylan, I live out in South Clackamas County, and where I live, and I would like to hear from more people, I have to have a land telephone line, which is really expensive, in order to get my internet. And so I think even $50 would help a lot.
Yes, I agree. And with that, I'm also going to reiterate very quickly the questions that Chair Smith just posed. So, what are the ongoing challenges residents face with internet access? We'd like to hear about challenges in all areas, but particularly for our rural areas. And what have been the ramifications of a lack of reliable connectivity? Tonight, I also have several emails to be read from individuals who are not able to make this meeting live, which is to be expected because some people can't Zoom with their connectivity. We will end the meeting by 7 at the latest. And all right, if any attendees would like to provide a comment, you can do so now by using your raise hand button on the Zoom bar. That's at the top or bottom, depending on your device. You can also send over an email to be read if we have enough time to clackonews@clackamas.us. That email address will also go in the chat. If you're on the phone, and I do see we have some people on the phone, you can hit *9 and it's going to let me know that you have a comment to make. And alrighty, and looking over the amount of attendees, I think we'll have plenty of time, Chair. I suggest that the time cap be our normal 3 minutes. Is that okay by you? Very good. Very good. Okay. Okay. So the first question is going to be from Trisha Beechler. Trisha Beechler, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and then you're going to have 3 minutes to speak with Clackamas County Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm here along with my sister-in-law, Tiffany McCullough, that we live down at Dodge Park. We're just across the river from the Portland Water Bureau. This is a homestead property that has been in our family since the early 1900s. And I personally have been working for the last 5 years to bring high-speed internet to the group of 7 homes that are down there. My sister-in-law currently works from home and has no plan on ever going back to the office. We have 2 young boys that will eventually have to be homeschooled down there. My husband works for the hospital and is currently working from home, and we have no internet and have struggled with no internet for years. I've gone round and round with Comcast. I've talked to Wave. I've talked to Ziply. I've talked to Ziply engineers. I've talked to everybody. Wave Broadband is literally 800 feet from my in-laws' house, and they will not extend service to us. We currently have Ziply fiber, or we currently have Ziply telephones because they took it over from Verizon, and we have no internet at all. And we have spotty cell phone service at the best.
Is your name Teresa? Did I hear that right?
Trisha.
Oh, Trisha, there you go. Trisha, I have to say, I understand 1000% what you're going through. I have gone through similar struggles with that. For me, Wave is like 1,000 or 800 feet down my driveway. They will not go down my driveway to connect me for faster internet service. I've considered all the options that you say. I've considered doing satellite. The folks tell me satellite is not any good. You can lose your connection on there. And then when we lose our power, as what happened in the ice storm for 7 days, I had trouble with my cell phone.
Yeah.
And as chair of the county, I had to, declare an emergency declaration, and I had to drive to a place to find it. And I just, it's so maddening to me that people like yourself, are expected to be able to perform your duties over internet, but yet you don't have it.
Well, and I also run part of the emergency management team for the Portland Airport, and our requirement as part of that group is to have viable internet. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the area, but my house is actually the one that's being built right on the corner of Lested as you come down the hill across the bridge. So we're under construction, but like I said, my in-laws have lived out there since the 1900s and have never had internet.
Do you mind if I hop in? This is Tiffany McCullough. I'm Trisha Beeler's sister-in-law. I live with my senior parents, Tony and David Beeler, who live out there. And so I live there. I'm a single mom with my 4-year-old son. We've been stuck at home for the entire pandemic, and my mom has had several health issues as well. And because of a lack of internet connection, not only do I literally I can't work efficiently, right? Like I'm actually working off my phone most of the time. Things like that. Have to run into Portland, find childcare for my child that's safe during a pandemic, to run into the office if I have to stream a meeting, things like that. But one of my biggest concerns is that I have an aunt who is almost 80 who lives out there, and I have my parents who are in their early 70s who live out there, and we have not been able to do healthcare videos online. To this day, we can do a phone call with our doctor, but like I can't do physical therapy because I can't stream with my doctor's office because we do not have internet accessibility. My mom hasn't been able to stream online some of her specialist appointments because we don't have internet connectivity. So those are serious issues when I can't go in to see my doctor still to this day, but I actually can't see my doctor even over video. We also can't do any online banking. We can't do anything like that because our area as well does not have good cell phone reception. So my cell phone may or may not ring depending on where I am in the house. And that's even with AT&T, that's the closest. Literally 50 feet from our house in our backyard, the Water Bureau has their high-speed internet running through our yard. It is 50 feet through in our yard, connecting across the river. We cannot get connection from them. We cannot get connection from Comcast, Wave, or Ziply, despite them all being within literally 50 feet to a mile within our house. And that includes—
Tiffany, why do they tell you that they won't connect?
It's PGE. It's the so the Water Bureau is connected through PGE, and PGE monopolizes all of their entities. So they won't let us connect to their lines because we're residents, even though we pay them our power bill.
And it's on our property. Their lines literally, we can't even utilize part of our property because we have to keep it open for PGE to come and fix the lines several times. Like
that's their easement rights that they're granted by law.
Yeah.
But so what you're saying is you could actually piggyback on PGE's power lines, but they won't let you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
They won't let us
girls,
piggyback
ladies,
to their internet.
Ladies, I want you to send me an email on this.
Wonderful.
I want you to send, my email is tootysmith@clackamas.us.
So the
Thank you.
piece of property that Tiffany's in reference to is the property that the Bull Run main water line feeds the city of Portland, runs on our in-laws' property. And they did a grandfathered easement back in the 1900s to provide them water so they could have an acre and a half of their property to run the water to the city of Portland.
Okay.
And
look,
in turns, they don't.
I understand that. I understand that, but that doesn't have anything to do with the internet today. But I just want you, because we got to move on to the next caller. Please email me at tootysmith@clackamas.us and remind me of the situation with the PGE. And I cannot promise you anything, but I would like to look into it to see what the problem is out there. We'll get staff on it. I have some connections at PGE to see, and say in there your addresses, and Tiffany, you're part of the 7 families that out there that don't have internet at the Dodge Park area. Is that right?
Yes, Tootie, thank you so much.
Okay, just send an email. I'm not going to promise anything, but I'm going to try to look into it. Dylan, go ahead, and thank you, folks, Tiffany and Tricia, for calling in.
Yes, thanks very much. Okay, we will, actually, I'm going to go ahead and intersperse these with emails. So the first email that we're going to read is from Kathy H. Commissioners, thank you for your service. With internet access being an essential part of society, education, working, etc., I believe it is essential that we find a way to reduce or eliminate this expense for our community. One of my largest monthly utility expenses each month is my internet bill. All residents will benefit by having affordable connectivity. The county will benefit by boosting the economy. Studies have shown a positive economic impact. Thank you for looking into internet options for our community. Again, that is from Kathy H. So thank you, Kathy. Next, we're going to go back to the phones, or the Zooms, as it were. Zane Underkoffer. Zane, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. And there we go. And you have
Hello.
3 minutes. There we go. Go right ahead.
You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Pardon, this is my first Zoom call ever. So good evening. My name is Zane Underkoffer. I reside on Colorado Road outside of Sandy city limits. I've lived here with my family of 3 since 1993. We're kind of a homestead, in a way. We haven't been here since the early 1900s, but we're 3 generations in now. So, but during such time, I can fondly remember a time before we were on the wrong side of the digital divide, and I've been here ever since. We've been told to be patient, that they'd build us out eventually, but here we are in 2021, and no help seems to be coming. Wave seems to be the hot topic of tonight. They have conventional broadband on the first third or so of a mile of my street, which serves, I think, about 12 addresses. After speaking with some folks at the county, there's about 150 addresses on Colorado Road. And once they get to the first corner, they just shut off service and they absolutely refuse to extend it. There are no other ISPs in the area. When you try and get a hold of anyone at Wave to see what can be done, they inform us that it's just not financially feasible. As such, we've been forced to use HughesNet. My wife, she works at IT for a profession, and she has done numerous speed tests. She actually just did one for me here just a little bit ago, and our download speeds are 1.3 megabits per second, and our upload is less than 1 megabit per second, which she tells me is about 10% of what is necessary to really function in the modern internet. It has a strict data cap of 50 gigabytes per month, and it costs us roughly $100 just for that service. In addition to that, we also have 2 unlimited plans for our cell phones, 2 hotspots. She gets a hotspot from her work. She also gets one, or we get one for our son through the school district. We are somewhat fortunate in that we are somewhat near a cell phone tower, which gives us moderate, unreliable, but occasionally decent access to 4G through that. But those 4 plans, they total roughly $500 per month that my family spends on internet that it's subpar at best. We, by the end of the month, we're jockeying one service to the next, to the next, to the next, trying to find enough data amongst them. And quite often we have to travel to in-laws or parents' houses or other places to complete my son's schooling, or for my wife to do her job.
Zane, I'm
Hey,
sorry, we
Zane?
are at 3 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, hey,
I'm
Zane,
sorry.
Zane Tootie Smith here. Are you
Yes.
telling me that Wave goes partway down your street, but then won't complete going down the rest of the part of your street?
Correct.
Okay, would you send me an email at tootysmith@clackamas.us, tootysmith@clackamas.us, and tell me in the email exactly this, and say what your address is, and my staff or I, and all the commissioners will reach out to Wave and try to understand what the problem is.
Okay, I will
And
do
I'm
that.
not promising anything, but we're gonna try.
No, I fully understand, and I appreciate
Yeah,
your
and
attention.
we have commissioners on this call who are a lot smarter about this internet stuff than I am. Just saying. But I hear you.
Duke's amazing, for the record. I've talked to him a few times.
Who?
Duke Dexter, he's rather amazing.
Okay, good.
I've
That's
spoken to him a
great.
couple times.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Zane.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Zane. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to read another email. This one came to us from Meredith N. I live just 5 minutes from Clackamas Community College, yet the internet at my home is so poor and unreliable. I am not able to stream television programs, movies, and it does not support a work from home option and runs very sluggish. Currently, our options are Beaver Creek Telephone Company, HughesNet, or a Verizon hotspot. We have HughesNet and a Verizon hotspot because BCT wants over $1,000 to have an engineer come to my home to install a hard line for internet. HughesNet has unreliable, slow service. The Verizon hotspot runs out of data with less than a week of usage. Why has BCT been allowed to dictate that higher speed internet providers be prohibited from providing service in our area? Our neighbor paid the $1,000 to hardline the internet at her home and reports the service isn't very fast or reliable still. This is a huge barrier for residents in a not so rural area to be connected with fast and reliable internet service. I am also the director of a local nonprofit organization, and this negatively affects my ability to run my organization since I am not able to stream continuing education classes and correspondence runs very slowly to be able to email our supporters and customers. Please help lift the ban on additional internet providers in our area so that we have options for reliable, fast internet to work for our businesses, organizations, schools, and personal use. Thank you very much. Meredith N.
I experienced the exact same thing as she does. I'm on Beaver Creek Telephone Company. I have a hotspot, and she's right in everything she says. And what's shocking to me is that she's so close to Clackamas Community College, and she's still experiencing these difficulties. And this is what I don't understand. And maybe our IT staff can help me understand that. I do understand that Beaver Creek Telephone Company is a private company. It is a co-op. But holy cow, somehow we're going to have to get this figured out for our folks. Because I experienced the same thing. Ask any of my commissioners if I'm on a Zoom with them, I could blank out at any time because, and I just thank God today that we don't have wind in a rainstorm because, and my connection to my home is underground, that it goes down the street. So I understand that very much. Go ahead, Dylan.
No, that's fine, Chair Smith. Did you want to pose a
Continue?
question?
Do we have more callers?
Yes, we do, but did you want to pose a question either Duke or Dave? I didn't know if because you said you.
Can Duke or Dave handle that? It sounds like it's a private company situation, but if they want to.
Duke or Dave, either? Oh, here's Duke.
Good evening. Yeah, so BCT does have an area that they provide both phone and internet to, but it is over a more traditional telecom infrastructure. And but because they're a private institution, I'm not aware of any particular rule or law that we can apply to kind of force that extension.
And you're right, Duke. I'm pretty sure you're correct on that. Believe me, I've looked at every avenue.
All right.
Dylan, go ahead with the next caller.
Very good. And I'll remind our callers, you can go ahead and raise your hand. Please utilize the raise your hand button if you want to. It's at the top or bottom of your device. And if you're on the phone, you can hit *9. It lets me know you have something to say. Next, we will go over to Colleen Oatness, my apologies. But Colleen, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead. You have
Okay.
3 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it right. Thank you, commissioners. You got Ottness right the first time. So I live up the hill, not very far from Trisha Bueller at all. I live over near the old Roslyn Lake. I currently there on our street, we currently have like 22 houses. We all want internet. About 2 years ago, we got a hold of Reliance out in Estacada because we found out that there's a road across from us up the hill, across on Bull Run. I think it's Laughing Water. Reliance is over there, but they couldn't come over to us because Frontier owned our street. We currently have phone service. I tried to get phone service. They hooked me up from the street all the way to my house, and then they stopped. I'm like, great. So I didn't even get phone service. We currently do use satellite internet. I pay $250 a month just for I believe I used HughesNet, now I'm on Viasat. And it just keeps going up about 10-20 bucks a month, it seems like. Just like Zane, I'm also using my hotspots, the phone hotspots and everything. So I'm up to roughly between $450 or $500 a month, excuse me, $500 a month, 400 and 500 a month for just internet. It's outstanding. And then you can't really, it's spotty. It's very spotty. You can't do Zoom meetings. Like I'm here at work. I love the fact that you guys are bringing this up. My neighbors, we're just endless. We're just tired of, I'm sorry. We're just tired of nobody out there to help us. And then the pandemic hits and we're all kind of like, hey, we can't go. And some people couldn't even go to work because they didn't have internet service, but yet they were furloughed. I luckily got to come into work because a lot of people got to work from home because they have better internet service than I do. And in the household that we have, there's 3 of us that use the internet, and only one of them could use the internet to work from home. It's not reliable. I'm sorry. I'll quit now. But I just really hope that we can get this down in value.
Well, I'm sorry. I just feel for you. Really feel for you. Thank you for sharing your story. It brings home how important our expansion of broadband is.
Yes. Thank you very much, Colleen. We do appreciate the comment. Okay, back to the emails for a second. I'll also remind everybody you can hit the Zoom bar if you have you can hit the raise hand button if you have a question. The next email is from Kathleen Walker, who identifies herself as a member of the Sandy City Council, but clearly states that she is writing as an individual resident and not representing the Sandy City Council with these comments, commissioners. Dear commissioners, I live in the city of Sandy, where in 2002, we began a new internet service because the internet companies were slow or unavailable to provide internet to Sandy. In 2014, we transitioned the Sandy net to fiber using state-of-the-art but relatively cost-efficient underground feeds to homes and businesses. Our Sandy net leaders have been touted nationally for the service. Residents love the service Sandy offers. It was not free. There was a $9 million startup loan, and we are still paying off along with other costs. We have not done a service audit to even determine the true cost of installing and maintaining the service. The county seems to be expecting Sandy to expand their services to areas outside Sandy. I was aware of one installation up Kiwanis Camp Road by Forest Road 39 that served a handful of summer homeowners using above ground lines. The amount of blowdown in that area is substantial. Blowdown on the line will be a constant issue. With all the folks in Clackamas County begging for good internet, why did you connect some part-time summer homeowners in that area? I know that you all have installed fiber optic up Highway 26, possibly Lolo Pass, and Highway 224 to Timothy Lake and other areas in Clackamas County. I was told it was a dark net line installation intended for government offices like schools and etc. I was told you had no intention of using that large, expensive system for homes, and that you were more interested in getting others like Sandy and private companies to install broadband services. As a Sandy taxpayer, we are subsidizing the running of 2 of the libraries, as the library district allocation increase did not even cover the increased costs in salaries. We are running the transit program from Government Camp to Estacada to Gresham. We are subsidizing senior services and Meals on Wheels programs to many folks outside Sandy city limits. We are subsidizing school resource officers in the Oregon Trail School District. I can support connecting Sandy homes within the UGB to SandyNet, as they may eventually be within city limits. I cannot support the city subsidizing the internet installation to unincorporated Clackamas County customers outside of Sandy. Our county can get huge amounts of federal funding for broadband internet that residents and businesses depend on now. Private companies will not provide service for unincorporated parts of the county. Please consider starting your own internet company like Sandy did. I am sure Sandy could be hired to consult on your startup for the endeavor. We have had to close our pool and are looking at reducing park and community recreation services because we are spending city taxpayer dollars subsidizing services that should be provided by the county to residents outside our city. Please consider copying Sandy's great approach to providing our county residents with internet service. Kind regards, Kathleen Walker, who again identifies herself as a member of the Sandy City Council, but clearly states she is writing as an individual and not representing the council. And she adds that the city council may come to a consensus at a later date. All right. Let me see. Next, we will go, well, the hand that we have up, Chair Smith, I think this is probably fine. It's Trisha again, but Trisha did email ahead of time. I know she was rallying a lot of people. It wouldn't surprise me if she has multiple people on her line. Is it okay with you if I bring her back in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, she just disappeared.
Well, probably because of
There
that
we go.
pesky internet connection, Dylan.
Yes, there we
So
go.
when she is on
She's
again, we'll go
back.
to her.
She just came
Okay.
back. She just came back. Okay, Trisha, go right ahead, or if it's somebody else, please identify yourself and we'll give you 3 minutes.
This is Trisha. Thanks again, commissioners. I just wanted to chime in on the SandyNet internet. So I was on the government website after finding out that there was a bunch of FEMA money that came down and USDA money that is available for grants for rural communities that don't have internet. The city of Canby actually got $43 million to extend to their community for internet. And I was on there and it actually says that our area that we're speaking about is in SandyNet. But when I speak to SandyNet, they will not extend us service because it's too expensive for them to bring us service down there. So that's, when I started calling around to all the other Ziply, Comcast, and Ziply was the first one that told me that they can't bring service to our area because of the monopoly that SandyNet has on it. And that they have a bunch of grants that they have available to bring internet to rural communities, but because of SandyNet, they can't bring it down to rural communities, especially our area being one. I actually went into the Comcast store here in Fairview and he said the same thing. He said, I can't even pull up your address in our system because of SandyNet. So even if we were able to get you a grant or get you funding to bring you internet to your guys' area, SandyNet has you under almost a monopoly that they can't do it.
And then SandyNet says you need to go to Comcast, Ziply, or Wave to get internet service because they won't provide it. So it's this catch-22 where you're just going in circles.
Thank you for that information. We will take it to heart.
Very good. Also, I wanted to mention very quickly the last email I read from Kathleen Walker. She mentioned federal funds that could potentially go to broadband. One thing she is referencing that I'd like to share with everybody very quickly is the Board of County Commissioners is very interested in hearing your opinions on how to spend some of those federal funds. If you go to the front page, which you should be seeing now on our website, and you scroll down, right here, how should ClackCo use 81 million in federal funds? You can go ahead and click on that page and go to the survey, which is going to be up throughout the month of May, and give your opinion on what services are most valuable. And the commissioners very much value your opinion. So please go ahead and take that survey. Okay, and we're going to go next to another email. Again, we have a lot of emails tonight from people who presumably can't Zoom. From Linda SR. We live outside Sandy without reliable internet service. Zoom is not an option as it doesn't work with our provider. When meetings are on Zoom, I wonder how many rural citizens who have no or poor service are able to join your event. Our situation, we were dropped by the phone internet company Reliance Connects out of Estacada because internet connectivity was a constant issue. Since we were the last home on their line, we were told their upgrade would not include our area. After contacting a number of other services and being denied, we opted for HughesNet. We've had HughesNet service for 2 years, though service depends on the weather, time of day, and is more than not too slow to stay connected. None of their claims on streaming, etc. is a reality. HughesNet is an expensive option for such poor service. We are hoping for an option that will provide consistent, reasonably priced service. Thank you very much, Linda SR. All right. Next, we will go back to the Zoom lines. DJ Anderson. DJ, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself. There we go. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call.
Very good. Go right ahead.
Listen, I think we can go all night, and I think we're going to find people all over the area that have internet problems. There's no question about that. The infrastructure is poor at best in many areas. And this is really exacerbating the situation of inequities, with our schooling, with people at work. Those who can afford it can find some sort of internet, but those that can't afford hundreds of dollars a month certainly have no options at all. And I guess what I'm looking at is, my understanding is there was meetings earlier 2 years ago, I believe, about this regarding, like power companies and whatnot. They are forced, if they're in an area, to provide power in areas where obviously it's not even profitable, and they have to base that cost structure out over their entire grid. And listen, it's about money. There's no doubt about it. If you own a business, you've got to make money at it to be profitable, to expand, to maintain it, to go on. That I give that to anybody who is in business. That's a must. But is there not a way that we can regulate this, that if your business is in a certain area, your phone company or whatever, your utility, then you must provide equal opportunities to that entire area? In other words, you've got a high concentrated area of people that's very profitable, and you've got some areas where, yeah, you're not going to make money. It costs money to run those lines out there and operate them. And I don't know if the county's looked into something like that, but I think if you're just going to leave it up to everybody to just kind of fight amongst each other, we're all going to be pushing off that person that's too expensive to run lines to, as long as we possibly can, and they're not going to get internet. That's just my thoughts on that. I don't know what the county's looked into. And I thank you guys for having this, by the way, this meeting. This is very good.
Dylan, I would like to get an answer to that from county council. I have a feeling it's probably regulated by the state, but I don't know. I'd often thought about that too. And he makes an excellent point that, for instance, our local provider is Portland General Electric, PGE, must supply power to people, even if it's not profitable for them to do so. And we're getting into an era, as I'm listening to these people talk, there was a time in the 1930s and 40s in the hills above Malala that people had no electricity, and they ran electricity through there, even when some people didn't want it and thought it was a fad, believe it or not, but they were regulated to do so. And this reminds me of the same time. It's like we're hearkening back to the 1940s, where people desperately need their internet and their Zoom, and they can't have it. So whoever's listening on this call, let's pose some questions, and maybe my commissioners know the answer to that, but I don't know the answer to that. So let's look at that and see, and we'll try to get back to the folks on the line. Thanks, Dylan.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. I see Commissioner Savas has his hand raised. Oh, Commissioner Savas, you're on mute. Commissioner Savas, you're on mute. You're on mute. There we go.
Yeah, Paul Savas here, Clackamas County Commissioner. Just want to let you all know that I have asked our technology services staff to look around the country and look for examples of where broadband has been franchised in counties. For example, we franchise ambulance service, and we do that because if they want to serve the area, we want to make sure that ambulance service is available to everyone in the county, no matter where they live. So they have to go, there's a franchise agreement for that. We also franchise garbage service, waste disposal services around the county. And of course, there are a lot of areas in the county that are not affordable or practical to serve, but by the franchise agreement, that's a way of ensuring that everyone has access to garbage service if they choose to sign on to it. So I'm asking them, I've asked them, I don't know if they have any updates, but I've looked at that and a few other models of how we get that done. However, that's easy to say, but there would really need to be probably a federal cash infusion. And right now, with all the grants coming out, we're hoping that something is coming around the corner here soon, and we can actually get a good amount of federal monies for broadband expansion. But it's expensive, and the internet services like Sandy, they can serve an area that's higher density and get return on their investment because everything's close together. But when you get farther out, that cost to serve is very expensive, and that is why all these large internet providers, the telecoms and everything, really limit what access they put out over there, because it's just hard to get a return on that investment.
Thank you for that, Paul. Thank you for that, Paul.
I don't know if Dave or Duke has any updates.
Paul, I would agree with you on that. It sure bears other consideration. And you bring up some really good ideas on that.
Duke, any updates on that?
No, not at this time. We are doing that research, but at this time, we do not have an update.
Okay.
I did ask the company that's working with us on our business plan to look into that for us to help, because they have national access to a lot of places. And they're seeing if they could find any samples for us.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we need an answer, right, Paul?
Yeah, I think it was 3 months ago. I think I broached that idea with staff. So we'll maybe we can help crank that up a little bit.
Okay. I see Commissioner Schrader has her hand up. Oh, Commissioner Schrader, you are on mute though.
At one time, we had looked at actually forming our own ISP and garnering dollars from the federal government, because the National Associations of Counties has seen this as a huge issue, not just in our area, but across the United States. And one of the issues we faced was, how do we work with the smaller, companies to see if we can somehow build a private-public partnership? And I don't know where that is. I don't know how fruitful it has been. I do know, after talking to our school districts, that this is pretty much a consistent problem across our entire county. And I do suspect that with recovery dollars, there should be some additional dollars for broadband. So I don't know what conversations we've been having with staff at this point, but maybe it's something we have to look at as a commission to make sure that now this has become a utility that has become necessary for people to be able to communicate and survive in the 21st century. So
I agree 100%, Martha.
yeah, I'm just going to throw that spaghetti on the wall, and that maybe that's something we need to revisit. And maybe we need to be really talking to our smaller providers. I, for one, like to make sure that some of the privatization of this comes into play. I'm not talking about the big guys like Wave or Comcast, but maybe there's some solution we can come up with our smaller providers where we're actually getting additional access and accessing the federal dollars that come our way. But just a comment. So
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Schrader and Savis and Chair Smith, and thank you, DJ, for the comment. Also, Chair Smith, I have made a note to myself to, once this is archived tomorrow, I will send the note to council and CC you regarding that question earlier, so we can get exactly right there.
Thank you, Dylan.
No problem. We don't have any more hands up right now. If you have any more questions out there, please go ahead and hit the raise hand button. You can do it at the bottom, at the top or bottom, but we still have a decent amount of emails to get through from a lot of people who could not join us for one reason or another, so I will keep reading those. But if you have a question out there and you're with us, please hit the raise hand bar. This is from Dwayne K. in Canby. Commissioners, sounds like you are considering giving some people in Clackamas County free or reduced internet access. Please remember the seniors on fixed incomes. They have paid for county services for 50 years. I am 71, living on a fixed income and paying $50 per month for basic internet service in Canby. Where do I get the extra money to pay for increases in my property taxes every year? Consider that annual inflation for 12 months is up 2.6%. The median annual property tax homeowners in Clackamas County pay $3,700, third highest in the state. The fiscal year 2019 to 2020 recommendations were a 5.5 salary increase for county commissioners. And Oregon State employees' cost of living adjustments only increased by 3% for the Social Security cost of living adjustments for 2021 was 1.3%. Maybe the seniors should be getting a rebate for internet access costs from property taxes this year. That was Dwayne K. in Canby. So, all right. Next, we still don't see any hands. Next, we have two that I was going to read together. It's a common theme. The problems with Sandy, it seems like, or the problems up near Sandy, I should rather say. From Coco G. The world has changed due to the pandemic, perhaps forever. We can't avoid this reality, neither the fact that many of us are expected to work from home and produce results, and also in hopes of saving our economy. Resources have been delegated to this industry to help expand their, quote, essential service. With so many families in the Colorado Road area of Sandy needing service, why has there been such a long battle for reliable service? Again, that's from Coco G. And the one that I was going to mix with that was from Tom L. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss this very important issue. My family has lived just outside the Sandy city limits for 30 years on Moonbeam Drive off of Colorado Road. My children attended the boarding schools and then Sandy High School. We supported the all school bond measures to make the community a stronger education hub. We are in need of a stable and fast internet service in our communities outside of city limits. The need for access to high-speed internet is great for school children, workers, and social interaction. The last year has just pointed out this basic need for all even more clearly. Sandy has created their own internet service, but that requires clear sight to one of their towers, which our area does not have. We need affordable, fast, and reliable service available to all Clackamas County residences. And again, that was from Tom L. up near Sandy. Still see no hands. I'll go ahead and keep reading the different emails we got. But again, if anybody out there would like to go ahead and ask a question or voice their opinion, please hit the raise hand button. Next is from Robin Kay, who is the Director of Human Services for the Father's Heart Street Ministry. I would like to address the issue of internet access in the lives of those community members living unsheltered. I have seen an enormous lack of communication of the local news events with those living unsheltered due to lack of access to media. When we had the Clackamas fires, many of our community members did not understand where the fires were located or which direction to go for safety. There has been the same experience with regard to real-time COVID-19 updates. Another concern has been access to filling out applications online. There is a lack of capability to apply for employment, Oregon ID, birth certificates, SSI, SSDI, medical correspondence for health questions and resources that may require online access. The Father's Heart has been helping people access online applications through our guest computer. We have noticed that even when we provide access to the internet and the use of a computer, many guests are not familiar with using the internet and need assistance. I would imagine that housed or unhoused internet access is a separate issue from computer internet skills. But thank you for your time. Again, that was Robin with the Father's Heart Street Ministry, and we thank them for the email. Okay, we might end early tonight, commissioners. We will see. Next up, from Teresa E. I am currently a resident of Milwaukee. My partner and I are currently in escrow on a commercial piece of property in Malala. It was disheartening to find that to get internet speeds and connectivity we are used to, it will cost us almost double for what we are paying in Milwaukee. We can afford the additional cost, but it makes me think about people who cannot. I have been working remotely since March 2020 due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, fast, reliable, affordable internet access is a necessity. No longer is this a luxury. A whole household of users is more the norm. Kids online for school, parents online for work, or maybe a whole household of remote workers. This is important. Plan now for the future and invest in fiber networks. This necessity isn't going away. Again, that was Teresa E. And we thank her, along with everybody else, for their emails. All right. Still see no hands, and that's fine. From Ted B. I'm currently paying over $150 a month to get a Wi-Fi signal from AT&T, and I'm limited to 50 gigabytes a month. This limitation will then revert to slow speed internet, which means no Facebook, no videos, and often no connection for internet, and using Zoom is out of the question. Additionally, bandwidth limitations means I am not able to access any form of internet connections. Additionally, dropped phone calls for Verizon and Sprint phones are a constant headache. That is from Ted B. Oh, and we've had a hand to go up. So I'll get back to these in a second. Derek Brown. Derek, you have 3 minutes with Clackamas County Commissioners, so go ahead and unmute yourself. There we go.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go right ahead.
I appreciate you hosting this meeting on this very important topic. And I echo what everyone is saying. I work for North Clackamas School District and am the Executive Director of Technology. And this is very important and near and dear to my heart, as we've all dealt with lack of reliable internet access for families, for children. And as the school district, when we went into the pandemic, beginning on March 15th, March 15th of 2020, we had to immediately provide access to families and to staff where there was no budget to do so. So thankfully, with our school board and our superintendent, there was a push, and we partnered with T-Mobile, Verizon to provide these hotspots. And over 10%, we have approximately 17,000 students, and over 10% of them needed internet access. And then in some cases, because it's based off of cell phone towers, that wouldn't work either. So even though the school district was trying to provide it so that the family could have access for their students, we still were not able to meet their needs. So this is no news to you. I would just like to know what I can do to help, to be a partner with you, to have some of these conversations with these ISPs, with Verizon, with Wave, and I'm here to help.
Hey, Derek, can you send an email to bcc@clackamas.us and offer your services and say you are on this virtual town hall, and maybe we can figure it out. I know this commission is really concerned and is trying to seek answers to how to provide this important service. So if you could just send us that, your contact information, it would really be helpful.
Yes, Commissioner, could you give me the address one more time, please?
Yes, it's BCC, Board of County Commissioners, BCC@clackamas.us.
And Derek, we also just put it in the chat.
Oh, they
thank
put
you
it
so
in the
much.
chat too.
Thank you so much.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, Derek. Appreciate that. Okay, and we have 3 more emails to get through, and then if no other hands go up, I think we'll end a bit early. Oh, but I just saw a hand go up, so that's fine. Let me do one email first. From Janet H. What exactly are you going to do that would have an impact on our access and connectivity? As residents in unincorporated Clackamas County, how exactly will we benefit or be impacted? So just a quick question there from Janet H. Let me see. We will go next to the hand that is raised, Tim Goodman. Tim Goodman, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself. There we go.
Great.
Very good. And you have 3 minutes with Clackamas County Commissioners. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Dylan. Good evening, Chair Smith and members of the County Commission. Tim Goodman with Comcast Government Affairs. Appreciate y'all being out here tonight and having this town hall on a very important subject. And I just wanted to follow up on the email I sent y'all yesterday about what Comcast has been doing throughout the COVID-19 and social unrest, and also where we are with our broadband services. And I'm don't want to touch on all of the points that I hit on in that email, but what I did want to follow up on and reiterate, Comcast has started a program where we're looking out for rural broadband builds, which is something that we started about 1.5 years ago. We are currently in the process of looking in areas that are considered unserved or underserved in Clackamas County. And what we're looking at are those, whether it's a community or actually incorporated city, where they don't have speeds higher than 100 meg as possible build out opportunities. But we would like to have discussions with the county down the road about, one, identifying these areas that are out there and how we can maybe partner together, where we can throw in some of our capital dollars, and there might be some grant funds out there. We could match those and hit those areas that typically aren't built out. And what you hear a lot tonight, they aren't built out because it doesn't meet the return on investment, as one might say, that, you know, us companies that are in for profit. And but we're really interested, and we're reaching out to a number of counties in our region. And we have a team now in place here at the region that will specialize on this and could work with you, and I would be part of that. But we have a development team specifically looking at rural broadband builds around our footprint, in and outside of our current footprint in Oregon. So we would be more than willing to have discussions with you and to see what we can do as some potential partnerships and going forth.
Tim, I think that's a great idea. You texted me earlier in this meeting and offered that to some of the residents out there, and we will share that information with you. Dylan, let's just keep Tim's information, and any of the commissioners can reach out to him, of course, and let's bring him in the loop, of course, and at least there's one company trying to help us out. Thank you, Tim.
You bet. Thank you.
Very good, Chair. All right. And thank you very much for that comment, Tim. 2 more emails to get through, but we still have time. If anybody else would like to offer a comment on Zoom, you just hit the raise hand button. First of 2 emails from Bill M. How will the county work with small independent telecommunications companies to ensure that the county doesn't steal customers and revenue? Several are cooperatives owned by their members. Again, that was from Bill M. I think I heard Commissioner Schrader reference that earlier, if memory serves. Yeah, so.
There are 3 cooperatives that I know of: Beaver Creek Telephone, Malala Communications, and Monitor, just in our area that serves Clackamas County, and there may be more. And he raises a really good question. That would be hugely difficult.
Very good. And the last, I still don't see any hands. The last email that I believe I received from Eddie S. Honestly, as a resident, I am much more interested in getting affordable internet services for working families. I am a single father who works at the United States Postal Service, and I can't afford internet. I've been fighting my phone bill, just trying to manage paying the bills and trying to have a connection with my son when he isn't home. I've been trying to balance my phone cost while keeping my data plan lower to manage the bills. How much better it would be if I had a low cost option for internet. I'm lucky enough to own a home in Gladstone, and for that I am blessed, but I also don't feel like I'm able to try and better my situation. I can't find a better job without getting on my phone data plan, and every time I go over my 4 gigs, I'm charged another $10 to continue having internet. Thank you for listening, Eddie S. Very good. I don't see any more hands raised, so.
Well, Dylan,
Commissioner-
I
yes, go
think
ahead.
this has been really valuable. It's just reaffirmed a lot of what commissioners were thinking. I really appreciate the comments. I think it's probably if more people come on, it's just gonna be more of the same. The need is huge and great. So I want to thank all the participants, all the people listening, and I think Dylan, you're probably right. It's just time to wrap it up.
Very good, Chair. Did any other commissioners want to say any parting words, or usually I'll throw that out? No?
Well, I just want to mention, Chair and colleagues, that the National Association, as I said earlier, of counties is looking into this across the nation. So I'm just going to suggest that we take a look at some of their best practices and what they've been doing in order to make sure that people have appropriate access. I think that would be a real help to us as we move forward with this.
Martha, I look forward to you bringing that information to us. You're our go-to person at NACO on this. And, you know, I'm sure with our staff help, you know, we heard so many good ideas tonight, and I think there's a real willingness on this board to try to figure out what to do, to know what we can do and what we cannot do.
Yeah. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And from my perspective, I've been trying to understand how we can work with the bigger providers like Comcast and our smaller providers, because in the end, we all want the same thing, and that is equal and equitable access to the internet, because people can no longer function. It's a utility. They have to have it in order to work, in order to get information, and in order to go to school. So it's
well said, Martha.
yeah.
Very well said.
All right.
Very good. Commissioner Fisher, I see you have your hand up.
I just want to thank my colleagues and for everyone who participated. One thing that this pandemic did was really show the disparities across our county and across, frankly, our state and our country when it comes to this issue. And hearing your stories, it really helps us be better leaders so that we can better articulate the need. And we are hoping to do better in the future based on what we've learned through this pandemic. And your input has been very valuable. And also, Dylan, I don't know if we want to share information about, we are seeking input through Clackamas County for our American Rescue Plan, direct allocation dollars. Our survey's gone out on a lot of avenues, but if you have that quickly, just to show people where on the internet they can find that. We want to hear from everyone. What are your thoughts? What do you think we need to be prioritizing in Clackamas County?
Yes, Commissioner Fisher, I can share that in a moment once we get through the
good comments, Commissioner Fisher. Thank you for that.
Very good. Commissioner Savas, I see your hand up.
Yeah, thank you everyone for participating in our town hall tonight. Yeah, this issue has been front and center since the pandemic. We've had town halls where this has come up with schools, about learning at home, about telecare, where health services is provided over the internet. I've been subscribing to that since the internet myself, or since the COVID issue myself. Commissioner Schrader is very active on the urban caucus, and I've been active on the rural caucus at NACO as well. So that is, like Commissioner Schrader said earlier, it's a huge issue and has been a huge issue at NACO for a long time across this country, and therefore those dollars are extremely competitive and around the country. So we all do our best. I've been trying to work with our staff to put together packages that, should funding come our way, that we have packages of different sizes that we can apply for a grant and try to bring service to pockets of neighborhoods around the county. If it does come in little baby bites, so to speak, knowing that this is a huge, I think if we got $100 million, it wouldn't go far enough. Let's just put it that way. If we had $100 million to spend on broadband, it would not go far enough. So, we're looking at a sizable amount of money. We have a huge need out there. And we are working on a plan, or a business plan, to assess those needs. And so hopefully in the coming months, we'll have a better idea of the landscape, the cost and approaches. So that'll be my goal. And I've been working with our staff on that as well. So it'd be great if I'm sure that the county commissioners, my colleagues, will join in on that, especially after tonight's conversation. So again, thank you to everyone. Been a great discussion.
Thank you, Paul.
Very good. Thank you all, commissioners. Okay, I'm going to share my screen before we get out of here just real quickly to reference a couple things. As Commissioner Fisher pointed out, the survey that we are asking for resident feedback on, if you scroll down on the front page of our website here, right here under latest news, it will be up here the entire month of May, because that is when the survey is open throughout the entire month of May. You click on that and you can get to the link for the survey itself. We've also put the direct link to the survey in the chat about 2 minutes ago when Commissioner Fisher referenced it. You can tell this is about the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the dollars that Clackamas County will get and how we should use them. That is the feedback that your commissioners are asking of you. I'll also point out Performance Clackamas, as was referenced very early. It's a very good plan. If you are interested in seeing what commissioner priorities are, you can go to clackamas.us/performance and look at Performance Clackamas Strategic Plan right here. As you can see, it was updated just 2 months ago, and broadband is included in one of the large only 10 goals that they have. That is how important it is to the commissioners. And lastly, I will also mention that on any page of Clackamas County, you can scroll all the way down to get to the get email updates. And when you go there, you can sign up to receive on our email list. If you sign up for either the monthly e-newsletter or the Board of County Commissioners, you will get notified about future town halls. This year we are doing one on the first Wednesday of every month at least. but you can get notified there by signing up. So with that, my thanks to everyone who called and emailed in tonight, and to the Board of County Commissioners, along with Duke Dexter and Dave DeVore from Technology Services. So for all of us at Clackamas County, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks, Dylan. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.